Hey everyone, I am so excited to tell you about a collective healing that my friend and I did last week during the solstice energies. I wanted to tell you sooner, but it was a crazy week with Christmas and everything. And once the 22nd passed, I decided it would be better to just wait anyway. Plus, all of you were crazy busy. But now the timing feels perfect, like being in the collective energy of Jesus's birth. You know that it's not actually when he was born. This isn't the correct date. I don't know that the exact date is known, but I do know that it's actually closer to Easter or around the time of Easter. But the powers that be decided that they didn't want to celebrate Christmas and Easter around the same time, so they moved the date for Christmas to where they wanted it to be. But besides that, the collective energy from multitudes of people, millions, billions, whatever, um, focusing on Jesus's birth being at this time still gives it a lot of energy and power. So it feels perfect recording this Christmas Eve night. And actually, it's past midnight, so it's also Christmas Day. But to me, it's still Christmas Eve until I go to bed. So it's Christmas Eve. But anyway, so my healer friend Magdalena and I she was initially guided to do a collective transmission or a transmission or healing for the collective. Let me rephrase that. To heal narcissism templates. And as soon as she said it to me, I immediately felt drawn to do it as well. And she felt the same, but she didn't want to make me feel like I had to. And then I was like, I think I'm supposed to do this too. So we partnered together and did this collective transmission. And it's something that, it was divinely guided for us to do this. It's naturally, helping anyone in the collective who is ready to integrate the healing. And, especially if you're hearing about it and you're wanting to attune to it and connect to it, that makes a big difference too. She has done healings like this in the past. This is the first time that Spirit has guided me to, and I believe we're going to start doing this more often now that Spirit seems to be, or is going to be guiding us to do more collective healings now, which I'm so excited about. I think it's really awesome. I just added all these healings to my shop that I have gained the knowledge for how to perform them, and now Spirit has me doing the collective healings too, so I'm super excited. I want to tell you what we did. So like I said, we were basically shown and guided to work on healing the narcissism templates in the collective, in humanity, but like on multiple levels and angles. So on one aspect, removing the narcissism template that causes narcissists to behave that way. And then on another perspective, I was guided to perform healing for the survivors of narcissism and narcissistic abuse. And sorry, I have to think, did I say that right? And I was also guided to, so when Magdalena did her side, she focused on the templates on the masculine energy. And I focused on removing it from the dark feminine, since so many karmic partners are almost said the wrong word, are women in narcissistic roles and just like toxic as hell, controlling, manipulative, doing all this black magic and everything. So they're basically embodying the masculine energy narcissism template as well, even though they're women. Now, I want to talk more about narcissism, but I'm going to do that separately. First, I'm just going to explain to you guys about the collective healing that we did, and I will do a different group of videos to talk about narcissism. I have to decide how in depth I want to get, because so much information came through from what we did, as well as that she told me that from what she had been shown in the past, that to me was so fascinating and makes so much sense. But it might be a lot for a lot of you to grasp and understand. So I will let Spirit guide me on how much to explain to you, because there's so much that I have learned I knew it before, like innately, but now I have a greater understanding and detail about it. There's so much about how the spiritual realm affects us. So, like, the best way that I can explain that is to say, use an example that I have used before with people is that, we have the physical body, and we have the emotional and the mental body, and then we have the spiritual body. Just like the physical body gets sick and mental health, can be ill or diseased or disordered, the spiritual body can too. That black magic would be something like a disease of the spiritual body, entity attachments and whatnot. Stuff that's happening in the spiritual body can affect the mental emotional body, which can affect the physical body. So problems in the spiritual body can ultimately cause disease and illness in the physical body also. Make sense? So when I get to the point of trying to explain things like narcissism to you guys, or the narcissism templating, as I put it before, that's basically issues in the spiritual body that are then coming down into the mental emotional body and the physical body and creating issues in our 3D lives, in our 3D worlds. Even though in our 3D consciousness, we're just like, oh, that person's a narcissist or whatever, or has a psychological disorder, whatever. Ultimately, it's actually going up higher into the spiritual body where there is an effect happening there that is causing all of this. And that can be the case with a lot of different things. That's what I was kind of getting at there, that, now I'm understanding that there are, just like there are physical viruses that affect our body, there are also energetic viruses that are spiritual, like they're in the spiritual body, and that there can be energy exchanges that happen with those that cause that, like, it's like so hard to understand or even explain. But just think of it the same way as physical viruses, and these spiritual viruses can affect people as well. And actually, COVID is a great example of that because it has an energetic element as well it was created that way intentionally to help spread it. So I actually got it once from doing a healing on someone who had it, and I didn't realize, like, she didn't realize she had it. And then I started having symptoms, and I asked Spirit, I'm like, what's going on? And Spirit told me I had gotten COVID from that healing. So anyway, on another time, I will explain more in depth about the spiritual body disorders that is causing narcissism, and what these narcissism, this is like the word from hell, not just because of what it means, because of trying to say it quickly. Trying to explain the narcissism templating. Some of it will come through in explaining the collective healing, but the rest I'm going to get into detail later on, okay? So I did jot down notes because it was almost a week ago that I did it. I didn't want to forget. I didn't want to forget what she told me she did on her end as well. So I'm going to be looking at my iPad to review the notes and tell you, but it was just definitely guided to happen in conjunction with the solstice energy and the solstice portal at this particular point in time, in order to basically help bring to an end the, I'm not even sure of the right way to say this, actually. So at the fall of Atlantis, there were specific major, I don't know, I'm just going to say issues that were inflicted upon humanity. And, that kind of goes back to those spiritual disorders, like I was talking about in the spiritual body. I'm probably not using the right words, but they're either eluding me right now or I don't know them, one or the other. But, and some of it might get into here, or what did I just say? Some of it might be in here in my notes, because Magdalena did mention something about it. But actually, I think I just found it. A dense energy placed over people's crowns that entered during the time of the fall of Atlantis and Egyptian timelines. And it was caused by the fall of Atlantis, or however they did that, because there was a bit of orchestration there by the dark side as well. So anyway, Now I forgot why I brought that up. But anyway, so these, whether it's narcissism or other templates, they were kind of inflicted on the world at that time in history. And because we are going through ascension now and we are moving past that time period that has been since the fall of Atlantis through now, that ascension cycle, it's time to remove those templates that were cast on humanity by the fall of Atlantis and, disintegrate them and remove them so that Earth can continue to ascend and evolve into new Earth and people will no longer be afflicted by these things. Make sense? Hopefully. That's what I was getting at, even though I kind of got lost in my head for a second. Okay, so let's see here. Actually, I forgot. The first thing that I wanted to say real quick was the Ascension videos that I posted with the 1212 portal. So if you remember at the beginning of that, I did healing, and actually I need to do that at the beginning of this now too. So I'll do that after I explain. But so when Magdalena watched that video, she immediately channeled something about that healing that Spirit had not told me. And I want to tell you guys what she channeled about it. She said that light codes were coming through nature for one thing. And the light codes were igniting people to exhale the stress and mental jargon and come back into tranquility. And that when I started the hand transmission, it was anchoring a vortex for people to access the information that was being channeled, and it was working on their auric fields to download the information. That I was basically creating a pillar of light with my hands and holding that space with nature to allow the vortex to be opened. I don't know about you, but I thought that was pretty cool. And just so that it's important for you guys to understand, both that time and any other time with any healing, whether it's individual or collective, know that the healing energy and the light codes and the downloads and all that stuff, it will enter each person individually it will integrate, I should say, instead of enter, when they are ready to receive it at their level of their awakening journey. And actually, let me rephrase that too. At that present point in time, it will adjust to where you're at, and it will continue to evolve as you continue to evolve. Okay. So now, actually, like I said, let me do a healing, an energy, or a hand transmission again to start us off here before I explain the collective healing that we did on the solstice for removing narcissism and healing those templates in both the narcissists and in the survivors. Okay, so let's do this. You guys, some of you might even look at me and be like, she looks a little funny. But I can actually feel the energy between my hands when I do this. It's really cool, actually. And I have sneezed and felt the energy, I felt the sneeze bounce through the energy here. It felt like a pulse. It's really cool, actually. So anyway, so I'm creating an energy orb and a pillar of light, apparently. But actually, that's how I visualize things anyway. So now I am projecting that energy to you guys. And I know some of you feel it strongly and feel it in your chakras. It just depends on how attuned to your energy fields you are, or how awake to it you are, okay? Okay, so now let's get into the collective healing transmission that we did. So just a little bit of context about the narcissism. Like I said, I'm going to go into detail at a later time, but it is like, I've been saying the word templates, but maybe you could think of it as almost like a mask that is placed on the person. I was going to say by spirit, but obviously not by good spirits. It's complicated to get into that. We're going to hold on explaining that part for later. But it's like a mask or like a virus, or if template works for you, it's like that. And it is also like a partial possession. And interesting, did I put that in here? I asked Jesus, wait, no, it's here somewhere. I asked Jesus about the percentages of the partial possession. Is this it? Oh, I have to find where I saved it. But if I recall correctly, here it is. Okay. For narcissism, it's a 30% partial possession. So what that means is that 30% of their free will is being controlled by dark energy, dark spirits, however you want to think of it. Now, how that comes about is a little bit more complex to explain. Like I said, I'm saving that for later, but it is a partial possession in that sense. And that's like the average, okay? Because another thing is that people who are narcissists might choose to engage in witchcraft and black magic stuff. And if they make a contract with dark forces, dark spirits, anything like that, then that number goes up, that percentage goes up, and it's a higher percentage of partial possession. So that's something to take into consideration too, okay? They are somewhat in control of themselves, but not 100%. And even then, it's not that they're not in control of themselves, but it's that they're being influenced heavily by those dark spirits and dark energy, okay? Okay, so Magdalena was guided to work on removing that template that she said is, I lost my spot, is like extreme masculine energy. And that's why her focus was on males, but females who are narcissists are basically all in masculine energy or in extreme masculine energy, and they're not in feminine energy at all. And that makes complete sense if you pay attention to how they're acting, because they're so controlling and possessive, like it's all masculine energy. Okay, so the portion that Magdalena did, I actually want to save most of these details for the talk about narcissism, because there was a lot of in-depth explanation here from Jesus and from Spirit in explaining how people got taken over and controlled, because Jesus showed her this and explained this to her in order to show her how to remove it. So generally speaking, for this purpose in these videos, she was shown how these templates were like installed. You could literally almost think of it like a computer, like installing software, how these templates were installed into people. And like I said too, like you could almost see it like wearing a mask. And so then therefore, by seeing how they were put on people, then she could remove them. And she did this with the assistance of Jesus, and she saw Jesus removing them and connecting these people, these narcissists, with their higher self, with their higher selves, I should say, and helping them choose to connect to forces of light instead of connecting to this false light and evil as a source of power. Interesting, I do want to note here, part of the purpose, and this is huge and really big, because many of you know that the fall of Atlantis was a huge contributor to twin flames going into separation. I'm laughing because I was not worried about the time. I wasn't even thinking about the time. And I just, like, for whatever reason, popped into my head, check the time. It's 4:44. Okay. Thanks, Spirit. So anyway, the fall of Atlantis was huge in causing twin flame separations. I really need to dig into that more in terms of the specifics to how the fall of Atlantis is connected to twin flame separations, like if it was, what initially caused them, or if it's just a factor in twin flame history or what. But in any case, there's that connection there, okay? And the narcissism, part of the purpose of narcissism is to separate divine unions and keep people away from their heart. Now, there's multiple ways that you can look at that and how it achieves that, whether it's separating the narcissist from their true counterparts or using the narcissist to cause a separation between twin flames. That is probably the most common pattern and template in the twin flame community of why twins are in separation, is that a narcissist karmic intervenes. So doesn't it just make everything make sense? Well, partially. So anyway, I thought that was, spot on and made so much sense. Okay, so now one thing that's important to note, sorry, this contact is like bugging me. Like I accidentally splashed a drink in my eye and ever since it's acting up. So sorry if I stick my finger in my eye. I was going to say that while this work that Magdalena and Jesus did for removing these templates from narcissists, all of this work was done for the collectives, you have to understand that each individual will integrate the work and the healing when they're ready to receive it. Like it won't be an automatic on all narcissists, at once or anything like that. But as their higher selves guide them and as they are ready in their soul path, soul journeys, and in their soul contracts, they will be able to integrate the healing, okay? And it will help connect them back to their true souls and back to their higher selves to embody the light again. It's a consciousness that is being deactivated, okay? And once it's deactivated, those souls can choose a higher path of truth and light and will receive the downloads through the solstice gateway. And it will activate their Christos filaments of light from within to have a deeper awakening and return to their selves, to their true selves. Okay? So that was what the first part that Magdalena was guided to do. So then I went in the next day, went into meditation, and just let spirit guide me to see what I was going to do. It's funny because when I knew immediately that I was supposed to work on this, do this with her, but I didn't know how I was going to do it and or what I was even going to focus on. And it just came to me the next morning. While I was driving, I was like, you're going to heal the survivors collective and you're going to work on removing the template from the dark feminines. I was like, okay. So went into meditation. And it was beautiful in many ways. So I'm going to try to explain this myself, but I am going to refer to my notes so that I don't forget anything. But it was really beautiful starting out simply because I mentioned in the series of Ascension videos through the 1212 portal that I was guided to do this healing work on the karmic partner in my case, my twin's karmic partner. And so her higher self volunteered to be a proxy for this collective healing. And that's why I say it was really beautiful. Hold on. And I actually skipped ahead too, because I worked on the Survivor Collective first, and then I worked on the Dark Feminine Collective second. So she volunteered, her higher self volunteered to be a proxy for the Dark Feminine Collective. And then my twin's higher self was the proxy that I used in the Survivor Collective. And, I really, for me, it's just easier to visualize it that way, as if I have a body in front of me that I'm working over, basically. So, what was I going to say? Oh, I randomly just wanted to mention, or spirit reminded me or something, I'm also a narcissism recovery coach. I don't know if you guys know that. It is in my Etsy shop, but I don't talk about it on my page because I focus on twin flames, but I am also that. So that's part of the reason why I was drawn to do this. And I have a lot of experience with narcissists. So yeah. But anyway, So when I started with the Survivors Collective, I saw like all their higher selves coming forward, standing up. And we basically just went through all of their chakras to heal and clear anything that needed to be healed and cleared because of the abuse and trauma inflicted on them by the narcissists. And it could be, they could still be with their narcissists. They could not be with them, but still be being affected by them, or they could be long past it. But those traumas and wounds can carry on with you for the rest of your life. So we went through all the chakras basically. In every chakra, I first pulled out, like I make my energy orb. I pull out anything that needs to come out. Negative energy, but like anything, like negative energy can be anything too. I pull out whatever needs to come out that is like causing issues, causing blockages, whatever. And then infuse, after I pull that out, I infuse healing energy and flames of the light. So in this case, I usually used the golden flame and Jesus's blue healing energy to infuse into the chakras and healing all these wounds. And the chakras are associated with different organ systems and mental health stuff. So I say chakra, but it's affecting all of those things. Okay. And actually, like, this is how I was kind of taught. Like, I actually removed pain from my back doing this once. This is how I learned how to do this, because I had, I don't know, it wasn't sciatica, but I had like nerve pain or something. And one of my mentors who I begged for help, like, tell me how to fix this, or that's not what I said, because I didn't really expect a miracle, but I knew that she did. I knew that she did this basically. So I asked her for help. And that's how she described it to me. The way I just described it is how she described it to me. Like, after my body was well enough, she described to me like pulling out the pain and then infusing the healing energy. And after I did it, I got up and I didn't have any more like flinches of pain. I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. So anyway, so that's how I visualize it and do it. So like I said, that's what I did in each chakra, focusing on what spirit was showing me to focus on. Along with the work that I was doing, I saw like various goddesses coming in and helping with the healing, goddesses and ascended masters. Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, of course, Isis, others. I can't think of, and I don't think I wrote down. No, I just wrote various goddesses working over each chakra as well and helping to heal and remove stuff. I also brought in the ocean to fully cleanse and rejuvenate from any negative energy in every chakra. Now, some chakras, there was additional information. So, but that's basically like, I wanted to give you that breakdown of like, this is what I did over every chakra as guided to. And there was slight differences in the third eye and crown chakra. Okay, so first I was guided to go to the sacral chakra in order to heal any like lower based thinking and negative energy just from going through that experience. And, there can be a lot of like negative emotions attached to that just for I'm trying to be careful of my words because I don't want to use any triggering words, but it's hard to avoid here. Being in that position where a narcissist is affecting you in that way, like it affects you deeply in your self-worth and other similar aspects. So we focused on healing all of that, basically, and it's the perception back on yourself, your self-love, basically. Healing any negative energy in there causing low self-worth, low self-love because of what this person did to you, basically. Makes sense? So I was guided to start there in the sacral chakra, working on those self-worth and self-love issues due to the narcissistic treatment. And then I went to the heart chakra. For naturally going through that is going to cause, fear of opening your heart. So we went to the heart chakra next. Then we went to the solar plexus. In the solar plexus, I also had to remove implants that were put there by the dark energy associated with the narcissist, and removed any cords connecting not just to the narcissist, but also to the negative energy, negative beings that were associated and working with the narcissist. And we went to the throat chakra, and I also removed implants that were blocking communication, authentic communication from the soul level, like, that fear-based, those implants would cause the survivors to struggle to speak their soul truths, to stand in their power, to stand up to the narcissist, or to speak honestly and authentically to anyone else as well. So removed any implants that were placed there by the negative energy and negative spirits, preventing them from speaking their truth. Then I went to the root chakra and also ended up removing any black magic, blocking success and progress, which in turn prevents independence, because that's what the narcissist wants. So many narcissists do stuff like that in order to prevent their people from being able to move forward in life and being stuck with them, basically. And then from there, I actually went back to the solar plexus to burn the soul contracts that the survivors have with their narcissist. So that way they cannot keep getting pulled back in, or just can have an easier time of breaking free and walking away. And there was actually a really powerful moment here. So after we burned the soul contracts, I instructed all of the survivors in the survivor collective to say whatever they needed to say to their narcissist. And then we just all like screamed it out, like got out our emotions. I don't remember how I said it to them, but I basically said, like, release your emotions. And I literally like saw and heard, like, everybody screaming it out, crying it out, whatever was, however they needed to release their emotions. Like I saw it and I felt it. It was really beautiful. And powerful, to be honest, as well. Then I went to the third eye and the crown chakra. And in the third eye and the crown, I distinctly saw it, instead of the golden flame, the violet flame, and Saint Germain. And Saint Germain is the one who works with the violet flame. So I saw Saint Germain, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, Hilarion, King Solomon, and some other ascended masters and archangels, all in the third eye and crown chakras, working on healing those, not just the goddesses. And in the third eye and crown, we also, again, removed any implants and blocks from helping the survivors connect with their higher selves and with God. And then after we removed those implants and blocks, I literally saw, like, their higher selves jump into their bodies. And then, start working on the soul integration. Then after that, I did a scan to make sure I didn't miss anything. And I included the Earth Star, Causal, and Soul Star chakras. I might have said one of those wrong because I don't know them as well. But I wanted to make sure that I covered all of their chakras as well. And then I made the pillars of light for everyone in the collective. And so, if you can literally think of it as expanding out, it becomes a pillar of light that goes through the body from head to toe, but like through all the chakras. And when it comes out the bottom of you, it connects to the core middle of earth. And then when it goes up above you, it connects to source, straight to source. So I created pillars of light for everybody and turn them all on. And I saw, like, their guardian angels with them, turning all their pillars of light on. And I instructed everybody's guardian angel to stay with them and protect their pillars of light and guide them forward on their soul paths and soul journeys for whatever the next steps are for them. Now, that could be escaping their narcissists. It could be following their life purpose paths. It could be moving forward on their twin flame journeys. It could be anything. So that is where I wrapped up with the Survivor Collective. Then we went over to the Dark Feminines, although I did include both genders because I should rephrase it and say I went over to the Narcissist Collective. But I did have a focus on the Dark Feminines, even though I included all narcissists. And as I said, the karmic, in my case, her higher self, stepped forward and volunteered to be the proxy that I used. And there was some interaction there between me and her, as well as a channeled message from Jesus that I knew was an important message for me to tell all of you as well. So the first thing that happened after she stepped forward was that I thanked her first for stepping in to represent the Narcissist Collective. And I promised her that I would do no harm and I would only help and heal. And I believe there was some recognition and gratitude expressed from her as well, though I don't remember specifically. So then Jesus explained something that's important for everybody to understand. I already understand this, and I felt like I already know this, but I realized that he was saying all of this in order for it to be imparted to everyone like here right now. So he explained that while in the 3D, our human consciousness, the divine feminines, I forgot. I did lowercase df for dark feminines. The dark feminines and the narcissists' free will has chosen to do these harmful acts. So in the 3D, these narcissists have consciously chosen with their free will to do these, to be these horrible people and to be abusive and cause all this trauma to people. But the reality is that from a 4D level, it is a partial possession, like I explained to you. And evil is controlling them to some extent. Now, how that came about depends on each narcissist. There's multiple pathways to narcissism, which I will explain in that separate narcissism videos. But from the 4D level, evil is influencing the narcissist to a degree that it's enough to get them to act in this way and carry out these templates, okay? And then beyond that, when we go to the 5D level, our souls chose all of this. Our souls chose these paths for our soul growth lessons. So from the 4D level, the dark is controlling these narcissists. But from the 5D level, their souls chose to experience going through this for the soul growth lessons that they are getting out of it, as well as how spirit is orchestrating events in everybody's lives for a specific purpose. And when I say that, I mean that, we have the narcissist, and then we have all the people that the narcissist affects. All of those people have soul contracts with the narcissist to go through this experience together. The narcissist is experiencing being a narcissist, and the other people are experiencing being on the receiving end of it and what they are learning from that experience. And it's a huge role played in twin flame journeys, of course, for specific purposes for each of those twin flame pairs. So from the 5D level, it's all orchestrated and planned out that way for specific reasons. That is a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow, to come to that understanding and recognition that even stuff like this, like traumatic and abusive relationships and narcissistic relationships, is happening for a reason and is even coordinated by spirit, and not just by spirit, by your own souls. I've heard people say, I don't know why my soul chose to be a twin flame because of how difficult the twin flame journey can be, let alone being in a narcissistic relationship, although that's oftentimes part of the twin flame journey anyway. But it's a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow or to even wrap their heads around and understand. I get that. I get that for many of you, you might be like, what? No way. As you get further along in your awakening path and your spiritual journey, you'll be able to understand it better. But, I'm going to read exactly what I wrote down because I know it's very close to what I channeled in the moment. And what I wrote here is that Jesus explains that while in the 3D, the dark feminines and narcissist free will has chosen to do these harmful acts, really it is a partial possession, but also agreed upon in their soul contracts for this phase of their soul journeys for however many lifetimes of soul growth. At 4D, they were attacked at various ages and stages of life to be controlled by dark beings, whether astral, galactic, or AI. And even that level is agreed upon at the 5D soul contract level for the stage of their soul growth for both the lessons and phases of their growth cycles, as well as for divine orchestration of everything and the roles they are meant to play in each other's soul journeys. So, like I said, from this 5D level, it's partially the soul wanting to go through these experiences or needing to go through these experiences. It can be both, to be honest, because like I've explained in previous videos that Earth is a mandatory schooling planet for souls, and you can't ascend and leave until you go through all of your lessons. So that could be a requirement. like your guidance counselors, like, you have to go through this. It's part of your graduation requirements to experience these things and go through these soul growth lessons. So part of it is that, and part of it is the divine orchestration of everything, the grand symphony for all the souls involved and all of their lessons and growth that they are gaining from it, okay? And this healing that I was doing is releasing all the souls who are ready from those soul contracts and ending this chapter of their soul growth journeys so they are no longer going to be puppets for the dark and shifting to paths of the light. So it's not going to automatically apply to all narcissists because not all narcissists are ready to release the soul contracts and end this chapter of their soul growth journeys. That depends on what phase they're in, and that could even depend on which lifetime they're in. But if they have achieved everything that was necessary through this cycle of lessons, then these soul contracts will end and this chapter will end so that they can then shift from the dark to a path of the light. Okay? It was a recognition of every level, 3D, 4D, and 5D, both conscious and unconscious, as well as spiritual. Their souls sacrificed the narcissist souls. Let me rephrase. The souls of these narcissists sacrificed in order to assist and help the soul paths of those they were involved with in their 3D lives, especially with twin flames, because it was an important role that someone needed to play. Just like I talked in the Ascension videos from 1212. We all, the world has to exist with polarity and duality, both good and evil. So there are people who have to play those dark roles for the evolution of the other side and vice versa. But the people who are the souls who are playing those dark roles, they are in a lower stage of their soul growth process and their lessons. So they're like, if we're looking at it like K through 12, they're probably in like kindergarten, first grade. They're down there because they're still in the early stages of growth. And they are basically playing key roles in the culmination and the graduation year, like 12th grade, for the twin flames and the other souls who are ready to I want to say conquer, but I don't know that that's the exact right word, but basically conquer their lessons and, kind of put those phases to bed, and they're ready to ascend and move on and leave Earth behind as well. So, so in doing so, even though they're going through lessons of their own, at the same time, the narcissist souls are sacrificing in order to play the role necessary for the twin flames and the other people in their lives and whatever they're going through in their lives and their spiritual awakening processes. Does that make sense, hopefully? At this point, Jesus had an important message. And that message was that these narcissists' souls they are, not were, they are still of the light. Even though they might be behaving in evil ways at this phase of their soul journeys, ultimately at their core, they are still of the light. And they're just, they're sacrificing and playing evil roles for various reasons on both their side of the process and on our side of the process. But it is important for us, the collective of survivors, to recognize and understand that these narcissist souls are also of the light, and they are or were being controlled by the dark. Their free will was compromised, and it was agreed upon for everybody's soul growth lesson and soul path. But they are also of the light at their core, just functioning as puppets of the dark during this lifetime. And that's the key thing there, that they are basically puppets of the dark during their present lifetimes. But they are also deserving of love and compassion because they are light at their core and they are serving their purpose, which I know it's a lot to wrap your head around. And honestly, I'm going to say I cried here. Jesus instructed through me for the entire survivor collective to project and send an explosion from their heart chakras of unconditional love and forgiveness to the narcissist collective, to help empower them and lift them up to embrace their true, authentic soul paths, to step into the paths of the light, to embody the light again, and to move forward down their next paths, which will be in the light, because they're leaving these dark paths and lessons behind. And by the survivor collective understanding this and sending them love and forgiveness, we are assisting them in breaking free from the dark as well. Because even though their higher selves are choosing to participate in this when they're ready, their 3D consciousness is always, behind the higher selves. The higher selves will get there first. And the 3D consciousness, it takes time for it to integrate and start changing in the 3D. And you can't expect miracles overnight. I mean, sometimes that will happen, but usually it's going to take time to see the changes in them. Okay. So then after that, I went through the same system with the chakras, just like I did with the survivor collective. And the goddesses were there working over the narcissist collective as well, and the dark feminines. And so this is what we did. In the solar plexus, we worked on healing the need for control and power and removing any implants and cords or cables, even connecting the narcissist to the dark spiritual beings that have been using them as puppets and controlling them, controlling a lot of their free will. We burned I shouldn't say we, because I instructed the higher selves of the narcissists to burn their soul contracts and the vows that they had made with these dark beings. So that's the thing. It's probably not all of them, because some narcissists are born that way because of ancestral lineage or past life stuff. But there are many, like I said, who choose to make vows to the dark, who choose to align themselves with demons and dark energy and make vows, like literally in the 3D. They have the contracts at the 5D level, the soul contracts, and then they have in the 3D, they make vows and promises to the dark, basically selling their soul. So when they do that, in order to be able to shift into the light, they have to burn those soul contracts and destroy those vows. So we worked on that. I have one of the healings that I add to my shop is healing a karmic situation. And that's one of the things that I do in there. The higher self of the karmic has to be ready to do this also. But if the soul contract is coming to an end, if all the lessons have been learned, and I'm guided to by spirit and the higher selves agree, then we can do that. I can help them through the astral realm, not in real life, like not in the 3D, but through meditation and connecting with them in that way. I guide them and help them through that process of ending their soul contracts with the dark and moving forward past these karmic situations and relationships. So that's basically what we did. So like I said, in the solar plexus, we destroyed those contracts and those vows with the dark beings. And the narcissist souls had to consciously choose to remove them and burn them themselves. Then we went to the crown, and in the crown chakra, we removed any implants or any connections that the dark evil spirits and beings were using to control the karmics, which that is something that is difficult to explain. Just think of it like I was talking about in the beginning, about in the spiritual body, there's viruses and stuff there also. So kind of think of it like that when you think of implants or whatever, that there's when they make these soul contracts, the implants are put in them by the dark to control. Let me rephrase that a little bit. When they make these soul contracts and make these vows to the dark beings, the evil spirits, basically, whether it's demons or galactic or whatever, they, best word again, install these implants to it's like the puppet strings to have some control there. Not 100%, it's not a full possession, but to have some control there. So in the crown chakra, we removed all that stuff. We removed anything that needed to come out there, and it was the same ascended masters working on them. Saint Germain, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, Hilarion, King Solomon, Jesus, all those ascended masters. And we worked on reconnecting the narcissist collective with their true higher selves. And again, I saw their higher selves jump into them. I also, in the crown, had Archangel Michael transmuting any of those dark evil beings that were not so happy about what I was doing, and transmuting them to the light. Then we went to the sacral chakra to work on healing the narcissist's self-worth wounds, because narcissism at its core is a deep insecurity or insecurities. So we worked on healing the self-worth wounds that are causing them to feel the need to use control to force happiness, but it's not really true happiness, and helped them to see that it's not real true happiness and that they do deserve that too. They just need to find it in a true and authentic way as opposed to trying to force it. And we went to the heart chakras to heal any wounds preventing vulnerability or true authentic connection. I also asked in the heart chakra for if any of narcissists have kids, to be inspired by their kids to help them choose the path of the light. Because they also have to choose it at the 3D level ultimately. And I asked Archangel Michael to put extra protections there to prevent the dark from influencing them. And we also at this stage once again called on the Survivor Collective to send unconditional love and forgiveness to them, to give them that positive boost again as well, to help heal their heart chakras. There was also Jesus guided a connection to gratitude through the heart chakra as well, and shifting to a consciousness of gratitude. Then I scanned everywhere just like I did the first time, and I created the pillars of light just like I did the first time, turned them all on and instructed the guardian angels to protect them from the interference of the dark and to follow their soul path, so where they're guided next, down a path of the light, and to embody their true higher selves and let their higher selves lead them instead of those dark beings. And I literally saw, actually, hold that thought. So after I did all this, I literally saw in my third eye, I saw the earth like a globe with all of these pillars of light, shining up out of it. Like I was, in space looking down on earth, and I saw all of the pillars of light coming up out of earth from the Survivor Collective and from the Narcissist Collective. The Survivor Collective sending the unconditional love and forgiveness to the Narcissist Collective, and the Narcissist Collective pillars of light all turning on and shining brightly as they are healing and shifting to their new paths of the light. I also instructed the divine, I keep saying that. I also instructed the dark feminines to put one hand on their heart and one on their sacral chakra and choose to embody their feminine path now, choose to embody feminine energy, and to turn away from that extreme masculine energy. And I asked them to call in their spirit teams to help them balance their inner masculine and feminine energies so that we're not at an extreme with either. And lastly, through Jesus, we ask the Survivor Collective to continue to send unconditional love and forgiveness to the narcissist, collect them to help them stay empowered and stay the course for this new path of the light. And so then, or after that, I connected with Magdalena, and she told me a few things that she's being shown and guided to do next, but not just yet. So that's what we did through the solstice portal, and she's going to be doing this next step coming up soon, and I will see if Spirit guides me to do anything else here as well. But she was shown that there needs to be a baptism, bringing the souls from the narcissist template to the next stage of their healing and retrieving their innocence and purity and anchoring in their higher selves, and connecting them through their inner child. And what was the other thing? And also healing the blood of all feminines from the viruses from this dark templating as well, just like I was kind of explaining at the beginning. But it's all feminines, because even though the Survivor Collective and Divine Feminines are not narcissists, they have experienced it through past lives or been affected in other ways. So it's healing the blood through all of that, which she can do at the energetic level. So that's basically everything that she and I did for this collective healing through the solstice energy, and what is still to come a little bit. She mentioned as well that she feels like, she brought up the fall of Atlantis connection, and that she feels powerful shifts and changes coming because all of the effects on all of humanity and the world from the fall of Atlantis are coming to a completion. Those cycles are coming to a completion and ready to be released, and that Spirit guided this collective healing to happen now in order to help bring about this huge turning point of releasing the dark and distortion caused by the narcissist templating. And that is going to then help the collective, like literally, the Twin Flame Collective and humanity, have big positive shifts in the ascension process. It was necessary and needed prior to coming into union for many twins. And this healing, she was shown by Spirit that this healing is going to be a massive accelerator for many twins, fast tracking union for some of them. She was told by March 2023. I am going to tell you that I checked with Spirit on this, and that's primarily first wave and some second wave. I actually got a lot more detailed. Before I go into those specifics, I also want to mention that she was also shown that twin flames who are close to union need to address and heal the narcissism templating because of the cycles that we've gone through past lives as well, in order to have the balanced masculine and feminine energy in both twins able to move forward in all of the right ways. So that's something important to remember, because it's fear and trauma from previous lifetimes even that has to be fully illuminated and dismantled. So it's a complete rebirth process. Now, going to what I asked Jesus, I did ask specifically about those dates that she had. So, you know what? Let me actually do this separately. Hold on. There was actually more to this, so I want to be able to go through the whole update, because if many of you know, at the top of my Instagram profile, I have a chart. I have a channeled messages from Jesus that includes a chart of the 7 different waves of twin flames, the time periods of when they would have met or been activated for their twin flame journey, and then their union by dates, which means like they should be in union no later than those dates. Union can come at any time, but that's when they are supposed to come into union by. And all of that is aligned for many reasons, from both our personal journeys as well as bigger picture things with the collective as a whole, and spirit aligning union gateways to bring in massive high energy union events, basically. So, and that's a separate post at the top of my profile as well. So anyway, so there's also some percentages there about how many twin flames will be in union at certain times. So I asked for an update from Jesus on that. And he told me that as of 12/22, the total number of, or the total percentage of twins in union had reached 50%. And I had previously been told that it would be 45% by the end of 2022. So being at 50% is awesome. That means that a lot of people are doing what they need to be doing and headed in the right direction, even more than originally anticipated. And hence so many people seeing evidence of timeline shifts as well. Now, as for first wave, I was originally told that the first wave should be in union by the end of 2022. And as of 12/22, 98% of the first wave twins are in union. The last 2% should be in union by March 2023, which aligns with what Magdalena saw about unions being accelerated for a big jump by March 2023. But along with that will also be many second waves. So I asked from the second wave, how many are currently in union? 25%. But like my chart showed, my original chart that I channeled from him a year or more ago, showed that the second wave twins would be in union by the summer solstice in June 2023, which is, 6 months away. So he told me that by March 2023, there will be a 50% jump in unions in the second wave. So they'll go from 25% in union to 75% in union all by March. So that's that accelerator that Magdalena was being shown. But by March 2023, the rest of the first wave and 50% of the second wave will come into union. And then the rest of the second wave by June, basically. I did also ask about the other waves and the rest of the information on the chart. He told me that the third wave, 10% are currently in union. The fourth and fifth wave both have 2% of them in union. And the sixth and seventh wave don't have any in union yet. The dates for when the union by dates, those are all still the same, no changes there. So we are currently in the middle of a union portal that started on 12/12 and goes through 12/31. And there will be another one starting, almost immediately. And then honestly, immediately on 1/1. I'm sure that Spirit is separating that because there is a shift in energy from the closeout of 1 year and going into the beginning of another year. So hence why this current union portal is 12/12 to 12/31, and the next portal starts 1/1. I did write down initially through the spring equinox 3/21. I want to reconfirm that because I thought that was a long time, although actually this year's was long, but I wanted to reconfirm it. I was a little rushed at the time, so I want to reconfirm the union portal dates next year. But anyway, so a lot of great information and updates there. I should put that into a post actually, but a lot of great updates there from Jesus, and it totally aligns with what Magdalena channeled about March 2023. And this, how did she say it? That a lot of twins are going to be fast-tracked for union by March 2023. And there is a huge timeline jump and accelerator happening between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So 12/21 and 3/21, okay? Really exciting. So that's everything I wanted to explain to you guys, and I wanted to tell you all the details because I thought it was so beautiful and amazing working with the Narcissism Survivor Collective and working with the Dark Feminine and Narcissism Collective and helping both to heal and move forward in positive ways for themselves. So that's everything I wanted to explain to you guys about it. Also, just because I was so excited about, being able to do that collective healing work. Like I mentioned, it's clear to Magdalena and I that Spirit is going to continue to guide us to work together and do these collective healings together. We may plan some ahead of time, like for the monthly portals. And sometimes it may come up like spur of the moment, like it did this time. But we did decide to go ahead, and I added to my Etsy shop a listing for anybody who wants to either donate for the time and energy that goes into doing these collective healings, or anybody who wants to sign up. Donating, that, that's up to you. If you just want to, kind of like as a gratitude, say thank you for using your time and energy, because like my portion, what I did, it was about an hour to an hour and a half approximately of what the time that it took me doing those meditations and working through that. So it takes a little bit of time and energy, and it takes away from me working on orders. But besides that, that was spur of the moment. So like I said, the purpose of the listing is for donations or signing up. So in the future, if we do a collective healing for, the beginning of the year 1/1, or closing out 2022 and going into 2023, I'll post something and be like, anybody who wants to sign up, you can, sign up through that listing in my shop. And even though, sorry if you just heard my dog with whatever sleep sound she just made, but yeah, even though the collective healing, it goes out to the group, the collective, when you sign up, you're basically requesting that we intentionally, add your name for your spirit guides to step up, your higher selves to step up and actively participate. Your higher selves will actively participate, and the energy will also be projected towards you specifically, like guaranteed, as opposed to assuming you're included in the collective, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. But so anybody who wants to donate or sign up, the listing is in my shop now for $11.11 for $11.11. I got cut off mid-sentence. Like I said, I have the listing in my shop. And there's also, if you contact me, we can do stuff, through other channels as well, but safely, of course. If you want to donate or sign up for the collective healings, and I will post when we do them. She will probably post as well. I am going to tag her if you want to follow her. And she will be offering, when she's guided to at various points in time in the future, one-on-one transmissions and healing work as well. Like, we both do. Hers are different from mine. Like, she has this information about narcissism that she may be working on something as guided by spirit. So, like, if that's something that you want to work with her one-on-one on, that's something that there's a possibility of that coming up in the future. Now, I have added to my shop, just like I mentioned to you guys before, the twin flame healing, karmic situation healing, inner child healing, soul retrieval, past life healing, a guided healing, working together. And I have the cord cutting that is the same thing, but it has already been there. And which is also negative energy cleansing. So those are in my shop, working with your higher selves to, heal anything that needs to be healed, address past life issues, work with your higher selves to kind of like discover and put you back together whole again, I guess is the best way that I can say it. And help guide you guys down the path to union, help that process along so there are no longer any spiritual blocks in the way, just holding you back mentally, emotionally, or worse. When I say worse, I think of spiritual warfare, or worse, blocking your paths forward. So I added those to my shop earlier this month, and you can check those out. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm mentioning that now because those healings are similar to how I explained the collective healing. The collective healing was different because I focused through the chakras. I won't always focus through the chakras. The healing work that I've done so far, working with the higher selves, we're not necessarily focusing on the chakras. We're, working, I'm having conversations with your higher selves and we are working through whatever needs to be and however spirit guides us. But since I explained the collective healing to you, I wanted to say it's very similar to the healings I added to my shop to just give you a reference point. Okay, so go to my Etsy shop in my link tree if you want to check out those listings. So like I said, I was so excited to participate in that collective healing for everybody last week. And any more that come up or that we plan ahead of time, I will post and talk about so that you guys know ahead of time if possible, so that you can sign up if you want to, so that we can focus on attuning to your energy as well and not just the collective. So keep an eye on my page or my pages, depending on how you follow me, to look for that information if you're interested. And I guess, let me know if you have any questions about any of this stuff. And I already said the other stuff. So follow Magdalena if you want to, learn more from her too, or see what options she has available for one-on-one work. And check out the same for me if you want to work with me on one-on-one work, okay? But I hope you enjoyed listening to all of that about the collective healing, because I so much enjoyed that, and I thought it was so beautiful and amazing. Working with the dark feminines and the narcissist collective, it honestly blew me away with how beautiful it was. And when Jesus had the survivor collective, sending them unconditional love and forgiveness as well, having that understanding that from a soul level they are good and they were sacrificing for the roles that they were meant to play in all of our lives at this time in their journeys and in our journeys. Like I had tears streaming down my face as I was going through that. So, and actually that's the biggest thing. If anybody has any questions about what I was explaining with that, Jesus's channeled message there about understanding the 3D perspective, the 4D perspective, and the 5D perspective on the narcissistic relationships, please feel free to ask me. And, sometimes when people ask me questions, it makes me realize, oh, I should do a video on this to help you guys understand better, because I might not realize that I need to. My phone wanted to tell me that the battery is going to die and it cut me off in the middle of a sentence. But I might not realize that I need to change how I'm saying something or explaining it until somebody asks a question like that. So please ask me if you have any questions, and I will be back soon to explain in more details about the narcissism template and how it works and how people get it, so to speak. And there's some other stuff I have written down that I want to talk about too. So I hope everyone's having a great Christmas or happy holidays, whatever it may be for you. And look forward to the new year. Like, get your rituals in order for what you're going to do to ring in the new year and usher in new energy. New beginnings, right?